I transmigrated into the body that holds my heart, Part 7. The arrangement with my family and Tristan went smoothly. Too smoothly, if you asked me. It was the kind of smooth that came with silence, with veiled glances, with things left unsaid. Now on my room, looking outside my balcony window. Outside the window, the rain poured in steady lines, like the sky itself was exhaling sadness. My thoughts were chaos, wrapped in quiet, stormy, restless, and tangled. And the only person I could blame was myself. I looked at my phone again. Screen dim but blaring headlines. Evans Corp faces multi-layered legal woes. Permits, tax audits, environmental violations. It was a perfect storm. Like someone, somewhere, was deliberately tearing apart everything my grandfather had spent a lifetime building. My grandfather. My legacy. Martha's legacy. I clenched my phone in my hand until my knuckles paled. No wonder Jared looked like a walking ghost. If I were still her, I'd be crawling into that same grave. But I wasn't her anymore, at least not fully. Yet, that company, it still mattered. He still mattered. My phone lit up suddenly, the name Wolf flashing on screen. I answered it without thinking, curiosity stirred by the strange timing. A quiet, professional voice greeted me. "Good evening. Your friend is here at our facility. He passed out unexpectedly. You're listed as his emergency contact. Can you come and pick him up?" My brows furrowed. My friend? Passed out. At this hour. I glanced at the clock. 10:41 p.m. That's odd. But something in me, whether guilt, curiosity, or something else I wasn't ready to name, told me to go, so I did. The sky had stopped crying, but the night air still shimmered with leftover rain as I stepped out of the car. In front of me stood Twilight, the most exclusive club in a city, more of a sanctuary for the elite than a simple night spot. Sleek black walls curved into gold-lined arches, lit by soft underlighting that seemed to ripple with every drop of moisture. The bouncers wore suits sharper than some CEOs, and the valet boys bowed like I was royalty. I called the number again as I approached the door. "This is Chrysia, I'm here." They responded immediately, ushering me in through a private entrance, away from the thrum of champagne flutes and synthetic jazz pulsing from the main floor. The club's VIP lounge was a different world, altogether velvet-draped walls, polished marble floors, and a chandelier above that dripped crystal like it had stolen stars from the night sky. And there he was, Jacob Evans, passed out cold on an obsidian leather couch, head lolled to the side, a glass slipping from his hand, his hair matted against his forehead like he'd danced with demons and lost. I blinked. Of all the people I expected to find in this mess, Jacob wasn't one. A waiter gently tried to wake him. "Sir? Mr. Evans?" Jacob groaned, then slowly opened his eyes, and when he saw me, he broke, like something inside him just snapped in half. Tears poured from his eyes, raw and unfiltered. He stumbled off the couch, and before I could stop him, knelt in front of me, clutching the hem of my coat like I was salvation itself. "Don't marry him," he begged through hiccuping sobs. "Please. Don't marry anyone. I love you. I've always loved you. I'll do anything. I'll give up everything. Just don't leave me like this." I stood frozen, like the room had flipped upside down. Was this Jacob Evans? Mr. Golden Boy? Mr. Have-It-All? I don't know what to do. I was frozen for a bit. Then came the sound of heels, sharp, precise, urgent. Claire. She rushed toward us in that dramatic, frantic way only Claire could do, kneeling beside Jacob, wrapping her arms around him like he was some wounded soldier. "Jacob, calm down, please. You're drunk. You're not thinking clearly." My bodyguards stepped in, their presence quiet but firm, assisting them to their feet. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just watched. Claire turned to me, all honeyed smiles and calculated sweetness. "A fox in heels. Thank you so much for coming," she said, her voice dripping with sincerity that I didn't buy for a second. "You're so kind, Chrysia. Really, I'll handle Jacob from here." My eyebrow arched. "Of course you will." She gave me a grateful nod before leading him out, his body still heavy, his sobs trailing behind them like an echo. I stood there for a long second, staring at the empty couch, wondering if I had just witnessed heartbreak, or manipulation, or maybe both. I shouldn't have followed them. I really shouldn't have. But I did. The black car stopped in front of the King's, the kind of hotel you only check into when you're rich, desperate, or hiding something. I remained a shadow, tucked behind a pillar near the valet area as Claire stumbled out of the car, struggling to support Jacob's drunken weight. "Chrysia," he slurred. Even through the thick haze of his stupor, he still called my name. Over and over again. "Chrysia." Don't leave me, please. His voice echoed along the hotel's marbled hallway, drawing glances from staff, but Claire paid them no mind. Her heels clicked in a frantic rhythm, trying to keep him upright as they made their way to the elevators. I followed behind, like a ghost. I waited to see what floor the elevator stopped, and then I go to the adjacent elevator. They reached the penthouse floor, Claire practically dragging him out, breathless. His feet were useless, his heart pathetic, and his mouth still begging, "Crisia, please don't marry him. Please, I'll do anything." Then, as they reached the suite at the very end of the hallway, Jacob slumped against the doorframe, head hanging. His eyes cracked open and settled on Claire. "Crisia," he whispered, voice trembling like a child's. Claire froze, and then, she smiled. That sweet, twisted, fox-like smile of hers. "Yes, Jacob, I'm Crisia." My nails dug into my palm as I watched from the hallway corner. Hidden, unseen, but burning. He dropped to his knees again, just like at the club. "Please don't leave me," he sobbed. "I'll give up everything. I'll love you forever. Just don't leave." Claire bent down, touched his face gently, coaxing the mess of a man. "I love you too," she whispered with practiced softness. "I've always loved you." I nearly gagged. And then God, the shamelessness they kissed. Jacob, the fool, clutched her like she was air. Claire melted into him like she'd been waiting for this exact script. Like she'd rehearsed it, line by line. And together, they stumbled into the room. The door clicked shut behind them, and I stood there, motionless and disgusted. Shameless. The words replayed in my head, over and over, like a broken record. But I didn't move. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. Because this wasn't my problem anymore. I had left that life, buried that heart. I shouldn't even be watching. I turned around. I walked away. I can't be bothered by other people's lives. I was Crisia now. And I had a new life, and I had a wedding to prepare. I adjusted the sleeve of my coat, took one last look at the door that swallowed their shamelessness, and turned away. My heels clicked softly against the hallway's marble floor, every step echoing the finality of my choice. The next day, the morning sun spilled golden light over the long dining table, where the entire family gathered. The clink of silverware mingled with soft conversations, but I cleared my throat, drawing their attention. "Dad," I began, my voice steady, "I want to talk about the Evans Corporation. I know the legacy they hold, Martha's legacy, and I'm thankful for what they've done for me." I paused, searching his eyes. "I want to help them. I want us to help." My father leaned back in his chair, the sharp angles of his face softening just a bit. My mother exchanged a glance with Hansel, who nodded slowly. "It's the right thing to do," my father said at last. "If that's what you want, dearest." A quiet warmth settled over the table. For once, the weight of the world felt a little lighter. Later that day, the news of my engagement to Tristan Xavier exploded across every channel, like wildfire racing through dry grass. The excitement buzzed around me, but inside, my thoughts tangled with worry, for Tristan, for Jared, for whatever storm brewed between them. But I had a role to fulfill. They say ignorance is bliss, so I chose to live it. I would be a good fiancé. Determined, I dressed carefully and made my way to the Xavier headquarters, a sleek glass tower that gleamed under the sun. In my hands, a carefully packed luncheon olive branch, a small peace offering. At the company lobby, I smiled politely. "I'm here to see Mr. Xavier," I declared with all pride. The receptionist blinked, scanning her screen. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we don't have any meeting scheduled for you. And no one here knows who you are." I swallowed, suppressing the sting. "I'm Tristan's fiancé." "The engagement was just announced." She frowned, shaking her head. "There must be some mistake. No one's informed us." I tried to explain, but it was useless. The receptionist was firm, and security hovered nearby. With no other options, I settled onto the plush couch in the lobby, folding my hands neatly on my lap. Minutes turned into hours, and the buzzing crowd moved around me like a tide I couldn't swim against. Alone on the lobby couch, I whispered to myself, "If they don't believe me yet, I'll make sure they do." Late night at the Xavier headquarters. "What are you doing here?" Tristan's voice cut through the quiet lobby like a sharp edge. His eyes, dark with frustration, fixed on me. I glanced at my watch. 11 p.m., way past any reasonable lunch hour. I brought you lunch," I stammered, feeling the awkwardness settle in like a heavy fog. His brow furrowed deeply. "How long have you been here?" "Since around lunchtime," I admitted. He let out a slow breath, like he was trying to calm a storm inside him. Then, softer, "Have you eaten?" I shook my head. The shadow on his face deepened, and I swallowed hard. Without another word, he turned his back and said, "Follow me." Before I could protest, we were out the door and into a nearby restaurant, where the staff hurriedly placed plates before us. "Eat," Tristan commanded. I tried to brush it off. "I'm not that hungry." His gaze locked on mine, firm and unwavering. I said, "Eat. You just had heart surgery. You can't afford to be weak. You have to take care of yourself. Of your heart." It wasn't a request. It was an order. And suddenly I knew he meant every word. I hid a smile. Is he worried about me? That's progress. The dinner was heavy with silence. I wanted to speak, to break the tension, but Tristan's distant aura made the air thick and unwelcoming. He seemed miles away, locked behind some invisible wall. Well, I told myself, it'll get better with time. We're practically strangers only a few days into this whole thing. It's only reasonable. When the meal ended, the clock struck midnight. My guards waited outside, but Tristan insisted on giving me a ride. "Don't do that again," he said, his tone cold and clipped. I met his gaze, steady. "But I wanted to bring you lunch. I don't want people thinking I'm a lousy fiancé." He sighed, a small crack in his stoic exterior. "I mean, don't forget to eat. Take care of yourself." I couldn't help but smile to myself, a secret curl at the corner of my lips. "Okay." Stepping out, I watched his car disappear into the night. "This is just the start, Mr. Xavier. One day, you'll be totally mine." I silently told myself,